As you can tell by the intro, today is not a Southern style video. We're going to be talking about something a little bit different. First scripted video in a few years, actually. Anyways, Playboy is an international company started in 1953 that has grossed well over a couple $1 billion since its creation. Today, it's the logo for Playboy is the third most iconic logo in the world, next to Apple and Coca-Cola. So I'm going to start off right now by saying it's going to be a long video. We're covering from 1953 to 2024. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, you don't have to. You can set your phone down, listen to it like a podcast. I ain't going to judge you. It's a lot to digest in one sitting. So it all began in 1953, the launch of Playboy magazine. Hugh Hefner revolutionized the magazine industry by publishing the first issue of Playboy in December 1953, featuring Marilyn Monroe as the iconic cover model. This inaugural issue set the stage for Playboy's blend of sophisticated lifestyle content and provocative imagery, which would become its hallmark. In 1954, Playboy broke racial barriers with Playboy's second issue solidified its status as a groundbreaking publication, featuring Doreen Stern as the first black model on the cover, demonstrating an early commitment to diversity and breaking racial barriers in the media. In 1955, the Playboy Club concept had already introduced. Hugh Hefner announced the concept of the Playboy Club, envisioning exclusive, sophisticated values where members could enjoy high-end entertainment by dining in the company of the iconic Playboy bunnies, further expanding the brand's lifestyle appeal. In 1956, the first Playboy Club opened in Chicago, offering a unique social experience that combined elegance and entertainment, featuring waitresses dressed as Playboy bunnies, which quickly became a symbol of the brand's allure and exclusivity. The Playboy bunny costume would also become the first costume to be copyrighted. In 1957, Playboy began doing in-depth cultural interviews. Not began, but continued to push cultural boundaries by publishing an in-depth interview with jazz musician Miles Davis, marking the beginning of its tradition of featuring significant cultural, art, and artistic figures, adding intellectual depth to its provocative content. In 1958, Playboy reached 1 million in circulation, reflecting its growing popularity and influence as a cultural touchstone that appealed to readers seeking a blend of sophistication, sexuality, and progressive ideas. In 1959, Playboy Enterprises Inc. was founded. Playboy Enterprises Inc. was officially established, signifying the transformation of Playboy from a magazine into a multi-faced lifestyle brand that would eventually encompass clubs, merchandise, and media productions. The year 1960 not only marks Playboy's introduction into the new age of the 60s, but also marks the first Playboy Jazz Festival. The inaugural Playboy Jazz Festival was held celebrating the brand's deep connection to the jazz world and its commitments to promoting cultural and artistic endeavors, becoming a long-standing annual event. In 1961, Hugh Hefner purchased the Playboy Mansion in Chicago, establishing it as the epicenter of Playboy's operations and a symbol of the luxurious, hedonic lifestyle the brand epitomized. 1962, the first international edition of Playboy was published in Germany, marking the beginning of Playboy's global expansion and its influence on international media and culture. Ausgescheißenes. In 1963, Hefner faced legal challenges when he was arrested for publishing obscene material. For his eventual acquittal, reinforced the magazine's commitment to freedom of expression to its provocative content. You, um, Throughout Hugh Hefner's life, he would be an advocate for the First Amendment. Um, Multiple times, he would use Playboy's free speech to talk about issues like AIDS, um, racial. He'd give platforms to civil rights leaders during the 60s. He is, at most, if you look at him for anything, well, I feel like what Hugh Hefner would like to be remembered for is a free speech advocate, the First Amendment king. In 1964, Playboy introduced the Playboy interview with Alex Haley's groundbreaking interview with aforementioned Miles Davis, setting a new standard for in-depth, candid conversations with influential figures from various fields. By 1965, Playboy Enterprises went public, allowing investors to buy shares and further capitalizing on its growth brand while solidifying its financial foundation for future expansions. Later, you'll see how Playboy expanded into film, records. They went into literally any form of media you can think of. Monty Python, the first Monty Python film was released by Playboy Film Productions. So that's going to give you how gradually widespread the brand does get. In 1966, saw Playboy take its adventures overseas across the pond to England. The Playboy Club in England opened in 1966, marking Playboy's successful venture to the European market and showcasing its international appeal and ability to adapt its brand to different cultural contexts. Specifically, the London Playboy Club also opened the first casino there. 1967, Playboy published its first nude centerfold of a celebrity, Jane Mansfield, a bold move that attracted significant attention and reinforced the magazine's reputation for blending celebrity culture with its provocative imagery. So this would sort of be the start of celebrities on the cover of Playboy. In the 90s, Donald Trump was on a cover. Not nude, of course, or centerfold, but it was fun to include celebrities on covers, such as the Conehead cover. 1968 would launch the first issue of the Playboy Advisor. It was published providing readers with expert advice on lifestyle topics, reinforcing Playboy's role as a guide to sophisticated living, which is something Hugh Hefner wanted to inquire with what he as a kid, he read Esquire, and he loved the pinup girls and sort of the sophisticated world of men's entertainment and lifestyle. And that's what he tried to emulate with Playboy, with having just with the dude centerfolds. Just 8 years after the first Playboy Mansion, Hugh Hefner again broke the bank in 1969 with the Playboy Mansion West. It was acquired in Los Angeles, becoming a central location for the brand's operations and a symbol of the West Coast's vibrant, laid-back style. Luckily for the ladies, in 1907, the first issue of Playgirl magazine was published, targeting a female audience, with similar themes of lifestyle and culture and a provocative content showcasing Playboy's influence on broader media trends. 1971, Playboy reached peak circulation. Playboy's magazine circulation reached a peak of 7 million, reflecting its widespread popularity and significant influence on American culture during this period. 1972, the Great American Health and Pleasure Sweepstakes. Playboy's Great American Health and Pleasure Sweepstakes, forgive me for sounding like a robot there, became a major promotion, engaging readers with exciting prizes and further promoting the brand's luxurious pleasure-seeking image. Playboy's whole thing is that Playboy wanted you to imagine yourself, with the finest whiskey, the finest watches, doing everything it advertised. It wanted you to have the vision that was you. They called it Playmates because they want to sound like this was someone you did something with. They gave you tips on how to become a Playboy in, the 50s and 60s and so forth magazines by trying to encourage you to imagine yourself and try to make yourself to what they promote. "1973 saw Playboy's expansion into film production, like the aforementioned Monty Python films that I, referenced earlier in the video. Playboy Enterprises expanded into the film industry by producing films under Playboy Productions, diversifying its media presence and influence. 1974 would see the first launch of the Playboy channel, offering subscribers access to exclusive video content. Though it was initially short-lived, it marked Playboy's early entry into the television era, which we would see a later revival of towards the 80s with the um, home video market increasing as well. 1975 introduced the use of Playboy Bunny products. Basically, they put the logo on there and they do any product. Playboy introduced the Playboy Bunny logo to its product lines, solidifying its iconic status and establishing its brand recognition through merchandise, which would be, towards the end of, the magazine printing, which, ended in 2021. They would, pretty much the product line is what's keeping it alive today. In 2007, it grossed over $1.7 billion alone just from selling Playboy Bunny products. 1975, Playboy's first interview with a sitting president. Obviously, a while ago, I mentioned Donald Trump being on the cover of Playboy magazine in the 90s, obviously pretty solidly before he became president, but Jimmy Carter made Playboy history by publishing, well, Jimmy Carter didn't publish it, but it made history by publishing an interview with sitting U.S. President Jimmy Carter, who famously admitted to having lusted in his heart, quote, demonstrating the magazine's ability to secure high-profile interviews. 1977 is not just the year Elvis died, but it is also when Playboy Japan was introduced as the first regional edition of the magazine, reflecting the brand's growing international reach and cultural adaptability. 1978 proved that LA is not just a fun place to put the second Playboy mansion, but Playboy opened a new corporate headquarters in Los Angeles, positioning itself closer to Hollywood in the entertainment industry, which would become integral to its media operations later in the 80s. 1979, Playboy launched the annual Playmate of the Year contest, celebrating the most popular playmates and creating a tradition that added to the magazine's allure and prestige, presenting Playboy as not just senseless pornography, but also, there's awards, there's dignity to it. Playboy's not just your average hustler or penthouse. It's above, and you can win awards. That makes sense? 1980, another new decade, another new era. Playboy would, of course, celebrate this new time by relaunching the Playboy Jazz Festival, continue its tradition of celebrating jazz music and African American culture, reinforcing the brand's commitment to the arts. Again, Playboy wants an upper range of sophistication, and Callie has just made her cameo in the video. I don't know if she's been visible the whole time or not. 1981, Hef's restless. He around this time in Hugh Hefner's life, his assistant Bobby Einstein, not sure how to pronounce it. She commits suicide. I'm not quite sure on the year, but that Hugh just doesn't want to be in Chicago anymore, so he moves to the second Playboy mansion in Los Angeles. There's primary residence, furthermore, entrancing the mansion's status as a symbol of the Playboy lifestyle. The mansion in Los Angeles gets more and more popular than the Chicago mansion and is more recognizable than the original Playboy mansion. (1982) Launch of Playboy Videos. Playboy Enterprises begins releasing a series of Playboy videos, capitalizing on the growing home video market and expanding its media offerings. Yay, a milestone of this video. If you're still watching or listening or doing the dishes, listening to this like a podcast, like I recommended in the beginning. 1983. Playboy celebrated its 30th anniversary with special issues and events, marking 3 decades of influence on media, culture, and lifestyle. Part 4. Wow. Yeah, and I told you at the beginning it was a 7-page script. Don't get surprised I'm not milking out an extra 4 seconds. Kidding. Love y'all. 1984, Girls of the Big Ten series. Playboy started the Girls of the Big Ten series featuring college students from Big Ten universities, which became one of its most popular annual features. Not surprising, people like Drake like younger women, and if there were quick discretion, there was definitely no child pornography in that. And I have no opinion on Drake. Ta-da! Surprise! It's the 80s. In 1985, Playboy relaunched the Playboy channel as a premium cable channel, providing subscribers with exclusive content and expanding its reach into television media, before it fell into late-night obscurity. 1986, annual Playmate search. Playboy initiated its first annual Playmate search, engaging readers in discovering new talent, further involving the audience in the magazine's content creation. Whoa, this camera is kind of iffy. 1987. Playboy Enterprises reported its first financial loss since going public, indicating challenges in the competitive media landscape and prompting strategic changes. 1988. Hugh Hefner, who at this point had been CEO of Playboy for well over 30 years, steps down to let his eldest child, Christy Hefner, his oldest daughter, become CEO of Playboy Enterprises, marking a new era of leadership and bringing a fresh perspective to the company's operations. 1989, end of a decade, beginning of an era. Playboy opened its first branded casino in Atlantic City, diversifying its entertainment offerings and leveraging its brand's luxurious adult-oriented images. Basically paradise on earth for anybody over the age of 18. The smartest decision Playboy ever made in the 90s was in 1990 they launched Playboy Online, which would bring them up to speed for the next 25 years and eventually be their main platform today. Playboy Online launched venturing into the digital space and adapting to the emerging internet culture, providing content to a new generation of users. Again, 1990, beginning of the 90s, they're really going to enjoy going into the online age. 1991. Playboy published a special issue featuring the 100 most beautiful women of the century, celebrating its influence on beauty standards and popular culture. Not only that, but they were able to make concepts for xylophones with the amount of ribs showing in that issue. 1992 would start the growing theme of the next 25 years or so, the decline of the print Playboy magazine. Playboy's circulation faced significant decline due to increasing competition from other men's magazines and changing consumer preferences, prompting the company to innovate. I wouldn't say Playboy it was as explicit of pornography, which it technically is, I guess, but it was never as explicit as Hustler, Penthouse, High Society. It never. Hugh Hefner always intended for it to be mostly men's entertainment and lifestyle, which is something Christy Hefner kept kind of consistency of, thankfully. 40th anniversary of Playboy. Playboy celebrated its 40th anniversary with special editions and events in 1993, highlighting its enduring impact on media and popular culture over 4 decades. I feel like the oldest lasting brand, one of the oldest lasting brands besides Playboy is Coca-Cola. I mean, Coca-Cola came out in the late 1880s, I want to say either 1886 or 1888. And ever since then, it's just been, well, not exactly then, but it's been a cultural icon since the 30s. And I feel like Playboy's the only other brand that's had that sort of multi-decade standstill of constant presence. Despite wavering popularity, fluctuation, it's always going to be a recognizable brand. And that's something Hugh Hefner tried to establish with Playboy. He wanted it to be a brand, not just a company. From the casinos to the hotels to the magazine, to the online, to the festivals, to the competitions. He wanted it to be established as a brand, not just a corporate entity. He wanted it to be a little bit of everything that would stay on topic with his original idea for men's entertainment. In 1994, Christy Hefner, which I just now pronounced right for the first time, no offense to her, continued her father's theme of expanding more and more and more by acquiring the Spice Network. Playboy Enterprises expanded its media holdings by acquiring the Spice Network, diversifying its portfolio and expanding its reach in adult entertainment, which is another way they expanded into media and tried to develop more of not really a digital presence, but a video presence, which became more and more the future as time progressed. In 1995, expansion of Playboy Online became Playboy.com and was launched, offering online content and further establishing Playboy's presence in the digital age, adapting to the rapidly changing media landscape, which is one of their, from 1995 to 2006. This is really them trying to get into the .com craze and move into a more internet-centered society and era. 1996, Playboy published its first virtual reality issue, experimenting with emerging technologies to offer readers immersive experiences, staying ahead of media trends. Again, this is Playboy expanding into the digital age, expanding as much as they can, trying to get more and more viewers, because at this point the magazine is dying. I'd say not as much as maybe 2006, but definitely at this point the magazine's on a significant decline with the computer age. 1997, Playboy Enterprises sold its video division, focusing on core business areas and adapting to changes in the home entertainment market. Um, at this point, Playboy isn't really doing so hot with its other ventures. Well, that's in 1986. It wasn't, when Hugh Hefner stepped down in 88 to let Christy Hefner take over. This is just Christy Hefner trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Really start cutting back on some of the ventures that didn't pay out as much. As I was saying earlier, Hugh Hefner wanted it to be a brand. He wanted it to go into a little bit of everything. So at this point, he's trying to cut back on a few things. Christy Hefner's trying to cut back on a few things to save money. In 1998, Playboy.com began offering paid memberships, monetizing its online content and creating new revenue streams in the digital era. 1999, the end of the 20th century, and the launch of the Playboy Cyber Club. The Playboy Cyber Club was launched, providing exclusive online content in a digital community for members, enhancing the reader engagement in the internet age. (2000) And another expansion in 2000, Playboy TV International was launched, expanding the brand's television presence globally and reaching a new international audience. In 2001, Playboy Enterprises expanded its branded apparel lines, leveraging its iconic logo and lifestyle appeal to enter into the fashion market, appealing to a broader audience. In 2002, Playboy launched its first mobile content services, adapting to the growing use of mobile devices and providing content on the go, which is actually pretty insane for 2002. In 2003, Playboy celebrated its 50th anniversary with special events, issues, and a documentary commemorating its half-century influence on media culture and lifestyle, which is lazy writing because that's almost exactly what I put for the 40th and 30th and 20th and 10th anniversaries. Probably at this point. Yes, my shins are itchy because I'm getting nervous at this question. No. In 2004, Playboy launched Playboy Radio. Playboy Radio debuted on Sirius Satellite Radio, providing listeners with audio content that reflected the magazine's blend of entertainment, lifestyle, and adult themes, which, if you ask me, in 2004, launching radio stations seems rather counterproductive. But Playboy will be a much more influential thing than I ever will be, so what am I to say? In 2005, Playboy introduced the Playboy energy drink, which sounds absolutely amazing. And if you mix it with vodka, I hear it also acts as a discount Viagra. Do not quote me on that. Diversifying its product offerings and leveraging its brand to enter the beverage market. Which, if you ask me, they should have done like a whiskey or a wine, partnered with some other advertiser brand they had, but you do you. And now to close out part 5 with segment 54 of this video. 2006, the launch of Playboy U. Playboy U was introduced as a social networking site for college students, aiming to connect the brand with a younger. I'm gonna put quotes on this part of the script. I don't know what the fuck. Tech savvy audience through a digital platform. Which obviously didn't last long. Wow. Segment 66. This is officially the longest video on my channel, and there's going to be a disclaimer at the end. Bullseye. Oh my god. My bad, Key. Alright, in 2016, the relaunch of the Playboy Club, Playboy Enterprises announces plans to relaunch the Playboy Club in New York City, reviving its iconic nightlife experience and expanding an urban presence. Quick little disclaimer, I do not condone cannabis since it's technically still illegal in most states, but in 2019, Playboy expanded its brand into cannabis-related products, capitalizing the growing legalization and mainstream acceptance of cannabis, aligning with its progressive and usually, I'm not using this in a negative term, left-wing and more liberal outlook. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I just tend not. I don't want to get political. I mean, I kind of have. You know, all the literal. But there's nothing wrong with being a Democrat or a Republican. It's what you believe in. It's your cores and values. And as human beings, we gotta respect each other's point of views. Anyway, Playboys tend to always be liberal. I mean, they put articles on the Vietnam War. They've always kind of been more to the left, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Getting too political. Ending this segment. 2020, the apocalypse year. Why did I throw those up? We'll look at it. 2020. Playboy Enterprises went public again through a merger with Mountain Crest Acquisition Corporation, providing new capital for growth and adapting to changes in the financial landscape. That's the first merger Playboy ever did. I wasn't. And in Playboy magazine ceased regular print publication, shifting its focus to digital content to adapt to the evolving media consumption habits of its audience. In 2021 marked the last Playboy magazine, which you guys just saw a few seconds ago as the cover of this video. I don't know why. Oh, not the video. Gosh, you know what I'm talking about. The cover of this part. 2022 also marks the second creative decision on Playboy I do not endorse, not because of political affiliation, but because I just don't believe in it. Playboy launched its own NFT platform, integrating with the growing digital art market and exploring new ways to monetize its brand and engage with a tech-savvy audience. I don't think I've heard NFTs mentioned since 2022. It's actually kind of weird to see on the script. I mean, uniform print. Surprised I actually read that. Playboy in 2023 made another decision, which they couldn't abandon the print. So in 2023, Playboy introduced select print issues as collectible items, combining nostalgia with exclusivity to appeal to the collectors and longtime fans of the brand. So I believe at that point they put in 2023 they kind of put the magazine as a novelty. Actually got the information. I got information on. Well, that sounds kind of stupid, but the price it would cost to own one copy of every single issue of Playboy is $50,000, and that's in mint condition. It would cost $50,000 to own one of every single Playboy ever made. 2024. Playboy continued to expand its lifestyle brand, focusing on global merchandise and digital experiences, ensuring its relevance and appeal in a rapidly changing cultural landscape. Ah, well, you heard it. This has been an incredible video. I've already done most of the editing at this point, but it is officially the longest video I have ever made in my 8 years of doing YouTube. I started in 2016, and this is the longest, most information-packed video I've ever made. If this does not do well, I won't do another one of these. So if you guys like this, you liked how I did it, you liked how I edited it, you like how it came out, let me know. There's no other way for me to know if you don't tell me. But anyways, if you made it this far, please know I appreciate the fuck out of you, because you're a Southern style fan at this point. Drink. I appreciate all of you, especially those that stayed. Even if you didn't, I don't mind. I understand this was a lot, and this was my first time doing a video like this, so it might not have came out how I wanted it to. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and after this I'm going straight into my disclaimer segment.